HFY Tale, Useless Deathworld, War, and Humanity. The Galactic Council dismissed the planet with a unanimous vote of disdain. Officially, it was logged as designation useless, a small, hostile Deathworld orbiting an unremarkable yellow star, toxic oceans, weather patterns that could flay steel, and native life forms more interested in devouring visitors than coexisting. The Council found nothing of value to Reno precious minerals, no strategic location, no unique biological assets. Even the humans, the dominant species, were deemed a peculiar anomaly, primitive, chaotic, and emotionally driven. They were considered more trouble than they were worth, so the universe left them alone, certain they would burn themselves out. But then the war came. The Zerioval Empire struck first, catching the peaceful Galactic Union off guard. World after world fell under their relentless advance. The Union's high command scrambled for a defense but found itself woefully outmatched. Their forces, accustomed to diplomacy and controlled skirmishes, weren't prepared for the brutality of total war. Desperate for reinforcements, they began reaching out to fringe species, even those they had long ignored. That's how the humans received their invitation. When the Union diplomats arrived on Earth, they were greeted with suspicion. Humans have long grown used to their isolation. They weren't surprised to learn the galaxy thought them unworthy. They'd always known their home was harsh, and they were proud of what they built despite it. "What exactly do you want from us?" the human delegate asked, her tone wary. "Soldiers," the diplomat replied, hesitantly. "Your resilience is renowned." Laughter erupted across the room. One human leaned forward, grinning. "You ignored us for centuries, and now you want our help. What makes you think we'd fight your war?" The diplomat flinched but answered honestly, "Because if the Zerioval aren't stopped, they will eventually reach your world too." The laughter stopped. Humans didn't have the advanced technology of the Union. Their weapons and ships were primitive by galactic standards, but what they lacked in sophistication, they made up for with sheer ingenuity, determination, and an unparalleled knack for war. When the first human fleet arrived on the battlefield, Union commanders were skeptical. Their ships were cobbled together from outdated parts, bristling with weapons that seemed laughably crude. But when the Zerioval engaged, something remarkable happened. The humans didn't fight like the Union. They didn't hold to neat formations or predictable tactics. They improvised, adapted, and refused to retreat. Even when outnumbered, they turned their Deathworld origins into an advantage, using brutal weather simulations and hazardous environments to bait the Zerioval into traps. And then there was their tenacity. Where other species broke under pressure, humans thrived. They turned every setback into an opportunity, every defeat into a lesson. The Zerioval began to fear them, not for their technology but for their unyielding will. One human officer's, Captain Dahlia Vega, became a legend. Her ship, Resolve, was infamous for its daring raids. In one battle, vastly outgunned, she ordered her crew to ram a Zerioval battleship, using the collision to board and capture it. When asked later why she'd taken such a reckless risk, she shrugged. "We're from Earth," she said. "You do what you have to." As the war dragged on, the Union began to see humans differently. Once dismissed as a useless species from a worthless planet, they were now viewed as heroes. Their stories spread across the galaxy, inspiring hope in those who had long since given up. When the Zerioval were finally defeated, it was a human general who signed the treaty. Earth was no longer designation useless. It was a beacon of resilience, a reminder that even in the harshest conditions, life could thrive and sometimes, it could save the universe. And as the galaxy celebrated its hard-won peace, humans returned to their small, battered planet. They didn't ask for tribute or recognition. They just wanted to go home.
The Zarval remnants were not content with their defeat. Scattered across the galaxy, they had regrouped in the shadows, fueled by vengeance and desperation. No longer bound by their rigid empire, these factions had grown unpredictable and dangerous. They didn't aim for open war, they sought chaos, targeting weak systems, sabotaging critical infrastructure, and spreading fear. The Galactic Union was stretched thin, still rebuilding from the devastation of the war. They turned to humanity, now a cornerstone of the Union's military and strategic planning. Captain Dahlia Vega stood in the war room of the Resolve's successor, a state-of-the-art starship named Eclipse. It was a gift from the Galactic Union, a token of gratitude and a recognition of humanity's critical role in defending the galaxy. Around her, holographic maps flickered, displaying reports of raids and skirmishes across the frontier. "What's the pattern?" she asked, scanning the chaos. A young tactical officer, Lieutenant Kiran Hossein, frowned as he analyzed the data. "They're not targeting military outposts or valuable resources. It's almost random agricultural planets, trading hubs, even research stations. It's like they're trying to destabilize everything." Dahlia nodded. "They're spreading us thin, keeping us guessing, classic guerrilla tactics. But they're leaving breadcrumbs. Every hit leaves a signature, a clue. We need to follow the trail back to its source." Meanwhile, on Earth, as the galaxy wrestled with the remnants of the Zarval, humanity was transforming its Deathworld into a hub of resilience and ingenuity. The harsh environment that had once been a liability was now a strength. Earth's extreme weather and rugged terrain became training grounds for Union forces, who sought to emulate the humans' ability to thrive under pressure. But not all humans were content with their newfound status. Among Earth's population, a growing faction, calling themselves the Isolationists, argued against further entanglement with the galaxy. "They ignored us for centuries," one of their leaders, Senator Elise Marlowe, declared in a fiery speech, "and now they demand our blood and sweat to clean up their messes? Earth should look after Earth. Let the galaxy fend for itself." The movement gained traction, creating tensions between the human government and the Galactic Union. Dahlia, now a prominent figure, found herself caught in the middle. The first strike. The Zarval remnants made their boldest move yet, an attack on a Galactic Union assembly station, deep in secure space. Hundreds of diplomats and leaders, including Earth's President Anton Ramirez, were killed in the bombing. The shockwaves of the attack rippled across the galaxy, threatening to shatter the fragile peace. Dahlia's team traced the attack to a Zarval-controlled system hidden within a volatile nebula. The nebula's storms made navigation nearly impossible, but it was the perfect hideout for those seeking to evade detection. The Union authorized a joint task force, led by Dahlia and the Eclipse, to neutralize the threat. The stakes were clear: failure would mean further destabilization and embolden the remnants to strike again. The Battle of Voritha's Veil. The Eclipse led a fleet of human and Union ships into the nebula, navigating its deadly storms with technology adapted from Earth's tempestuous environments. The Zarval forces, hidden within asteroid fields and cloaked stations, launched a vicious ambush. Dahlia's command was as sharp as ever: "Focus fire on their engines. Disable. Don't destroy, we need their data cores intact." The battle was brutal. Union ships struggled to keep up, but the humans thrived, their Deathworld instincts kicking in. Against overwhelming odds, the fleet pushed deeper into the nebula, capturing a Zarval command ship. Inside, they found chilling evidence. The remnants weren't just a scattered resistance, they were organizing into something far more dangerous. Plans for a new weapon, capable of tearing apart entire planets, were discovered in their databanks. A new alliance. The galaxy could no longer afford division. In the aftermath of Voritha's Veil, Dahlia stood before the Galactic Council once more. "We can't let fear divide us," she said, her voice steady. "The Zarval remnants are counting on our distrust and complacency. Humanity won't stand by while the galaxy burns, but we can't do it alone. We need unity, not just words, but action." Her speech resonated, and a new pact was forged, an alliance not just of governments but of peoples. Training academies opened on Earth, welcoming recruits from across the stars. Union scientists collaborated with human engineers, blending advanced technology with rugged practicality. The shadow looms. As the galaxy rallied, the Zarval remnants prepared their next move. Deep in the uncharted reaches, their new weapon, codenamed Oblivion, neared completion, and while the galaxy celebrated its renewed unity, whispers of betrayal and sabotage began to surface. For Dahlia, the road ahead was clear. Humanity had proven itself in war, but now it faced a greater challenge: securing peace while preparing for the battle to come. In the cold void of space, the stars seemed to shimmer with anticipation. The galaxy had survived its first great test, but the next would demand even more, and as always, humanity would be ready. HFY Tale, The Oblivion Gambit. The galaxy stood on the edge of its next great crisis. Deep within uncharted space, the Zarval remnants were closer than ever to completing their superweapon, Oblivion. With this weapon, they could shatter entire worlds, turning planets into barren husks. The Galactic Union's unity was fragile, and the whispers of sabotage threatened to undo everything humanity and its allies had fought for. On Earth, Captain Dahlia Vega prepared for her most dangerous mission yet. The Eclipse had been refitted with experimental technology, a blend of human ingenuity and Union advancements. This time, she wouldn't be leading a fleet. This time, it would be a surgical strike deep into Zarval space, a mission to stop Oblivion before it could be unleashed. The mission, the operation, codenamed Starlance, was a joint effort between humanity and its new allies. The Eclipse would infiltrate the Zarval stronghold, a heavily fortified station orbiting a dying star. The plan was audacious: disable the weapon's power source, steal its schematics, and cripple the station before escaping. Dahlia handpicked her crew for the mission, blending Earth's finest soldiers with alien specialists. Among them were Lieutenant Kiran Hossein, the brilliant tactical officer who had become Dahlia's right hand; Tarek Zen, a hulking reptilian engineer from the Olok species, renowned for his ability to jury-rig anything mechanical; Sila Nairi, a telepathic strategist from the Irelan people, whose abilities gave the team a crucial edge in negotiations and combat. "Let's make this clear," Dahlia said in the mission briefing. "This isn't just about stopping a weapon. This is about sending a message. The Zarval remnants think they can scare us into submission. Let's show them they're wrong." The infiltration. Navigating the dying star's gravity wells and radiation storms, the Eclipse approached the Zarval station under heavy cloak. Sila's telepathic abilities helped the crew avoid patrols, but the tension was palpable. The station itself was a fortress, bristling with defenses. The Zarval had learned from their defeats, adapting their tactics to counter human ingenuity, but they hadn't anticipated Earth's capacity for bold, reckless creativity. Using decoy drones and timed EMP bursts, the Eclipse managed to breach the station's outer defenses. The crew split into teams, one to sabotage the weapon's power source, another to extract its schematics, and a third to plant charges throughout the station. The fight inside. The station was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each one guarded by Zarval warriors and automated defenses. The humans and their allies moved with precision, relying on their diverse strengths to overcome obstacles. In one particularly brutal skirmish, Tarek used his immense strength to shield his team from a collapsing bulkhead, holding it up long enough for Dahlia and Kiran to plant explosives. Sila's telepathy proved invaluable, intercepting enemy communications and predicting their movements. But it wasn't perfect. An ambush in the station's core left several crew members wounded, and the stakes grew higher with every passing moment. Oblivion's heart. The team finally reached Oblivion's control center, a cavernous chamber dominated by the weapon's glowing core. The schematics revealed the weapon was powered by a rare and unstable element harvested from the dying star itself. Disabling it would trigger a chain reaction, potentially destroying the station. "That's our way out," Dahlia said grimly. "Set the charges. We've got 10 minutes to get clear." As the team worked, an alarm blared through the station. The Zarval knew they were there. Reinforcements poured into the chamber, and a desperate battle erupted. Kiran was hit, a plasma bolt grazing his side. Dahlia dragged him to cover, firing back with ruthless precision. "We're not losing anyone today," she shouted. With seconds to spare, Tarek finished rigging the core. Charges set. "Let's move." The escape. The team raced back to the Eclipse, fighting through waves of Zarval soldiers. Sila used her telepathy to create illusions, buying them precious moments. Dahlia and Kiran provided covering fire, while Tarek carried the wounded. As the station began to collapse, the Eclipse powered up its engines. Zarval ships moved to intercept, but Earth's cutting-edge cloaking tech and the Union's advanced shielding allowed them to slip away. Behind them, the dying star consumed the station in a brilliant explosion, taking Oblivion with it. The aftermath. The mission was a success, but it came at a cost. Several crew members were critically injured, and the strain of the operation weighed heavily on everyone. Back on Earth, Dahlia was hailed as a hero once again, but she knew the fight wasn't over. The Zarval remnants were still out there, and their desperation made them more dangerous than ever. In the quiet of her quarters, Dahlia stared at the schematics they had recovered. The weapon was destroyed, but the knowledge remained a chilling reminder of what the Zarval were capable of. Her comm pinged. It was Kiran, his voice weary but determined. "Captain, we've decrypted part of the schematics. There's a pattern. This wasn't their only project." Dahlia's jaw tightened. "Then we'd better be ready for the next one." As the galaxy braced itself for the shadows ahead, humanity stood at the forefront once more, ready to face the unknown, to protect the fragile peace they had fought so hard to achieve.